Okay, so I've been wanting to do this video for quite a while. Um, I've been receiving channelings and downloads about what I'm going to talk about for months. And I've been apprehensive about doing the video because I wasn't totally clear, but I've gotten a lot on this, and it's going to kind of challenge some people's construct of twin flames, okay? Just so you know, I don't know if you'll get triggered or if you're not going to like what you hear. A lot of people, once they get an understanding of what they're going through and the way it is, they don't want to hear another idea. But I know that this is true because I have been receiving information on it for months, and not just receiving information on it, living it, experiencing it, watching it. And I've been in a lot of situations where what I'm about to talk about has happened. I mean, a lot of situations in the last year. And if you're in the twin flame journey and you're the awakened twin or the more awakened twin, you've probably experienced this also. And it's just that for a long time, people have been saying that the masculine is the runner and the feminine is the chaser. Matter of fact, when I first was exposed to all of this, and I met my twin flame, and then like a couple months later, I found out what a twin flame is, and then that whole thing happened. I had designated myself as the feminine because of this construct that the masculine runs and that the feminine chases. And what I've come up with is that that's not true. Masculine energy isn't just the runner. Masculine energy isn't just the chaser, and same with feminine energy. The runner and the chaser are distorted energies that either the masculine or the feminine has that they're clearing, okay? And both the runner and the chaser distortions, we'll call those the distortions, both of them are to clear fear. The runner is in fear and the chaser is in fear. So it's important to understand, because when someone runs, they're afraid. And when someone chases, they're afraid that they're not going to get what they want or what they need. And when the runner runs, the runner feels inadequate and feels like, and also understand the runner, think about this. And this is one of the things that's been happening to me a lot. I'll be around a group of people, or I'll walk in a store, or I'll walk into a meeting or whatever. I'll walk into a room with a group of people, and it seems like either people are running from me, like they don't hear me, they don't see me, or they're gone. They don't even want to look at me in the eyes. While other people want to be with me, and they come very close, and they're happy to see me, and they can't wait to, catch up and all this kind of stuff. And then like what happens is, and this has happened to me, like, I don't know, a lot of times this has happened, where I've seen somebody, I just met them, or I haven't seen them for a while, and we get together and we're talking, and I go to leave, and like, no, don't leave. I love hanging out with you. We'll just stay for a while. And I'm like, hey, why don't we, have a date? Maybe this is a girl that I'm interested in, or maybe this is just a friend that I want to catch up with. But they'll be like, well, I'll be like, hey, let's just make a date. Let's hang out. And they're like, yeah, let's do that. I'm down for that. And so then they make a plan with me. And like one day, this, on the weekend or whatever, we'll go do something. And I'm like, I'm leaving. And I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I've been looking forward to having some companionship or a friend. And I haven't had that, because once you depart and you're no longer with that person goes into their distortion and they run from you. And the reason is because the distortion doesn't want to be cleared, okay? Now, we have a distorted self and we have a sacred self. I've talked a lot about this. These are the downloads I've been getting. So this is the stuff that I believe Source wants me to talk about and bring up. So as awakened twins, we are mostly, now not all of us, and not all of us all the time. Sometimes, most of the time, I'm in my sacred space. I am in my sacred identity. I, David, am the David holding this body, okay? And then when a distortion comes in, I have to clear it. I have most of my distortions come in when I'm in a group of people And a lot of times it's a big group of people. Like if I go to Costco and go shopping, distortions hit me pretty good. And I don't like being around a lot of people because I'm a very sensitive empath and I start clearing all their stuff and then I feel that way. And, I could get, I'm also, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I'm a clairsentient. So when I do healings, a lot of what I do when I heal is I actually feel what other people are feeling. Physically, I feel it. So that happens a lot when I'm in large groups of people. And so, but most of the time, especially, just real quick, in order to get into your sacred self, the best way to get to your sacred self and clear the distortions is to go into the moment and be present. In order to be present and in the moment, you have to be in acceptance of everything around you in this moment. You just accept everything, okay? That is what shields you into your sacred self. What lets the distortions come in is getting out of the moment, going into the future, going into the past. Obviously, if you're in the future, that's fear. Fear is the distortion. You're afraid of something happening in the future. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen when I have to do this or that or whatever. If you're in the past, the distortion is usually resentment. Now, I'm completely aware that we're not always resentful in the past, but when we have negative stuff that we're clearing in the past, it's usually resentment, okay? And that is also fear. The best way to clear a resentment is to identify what you're resentful at or who you're resentful at, to identify what part you played in that role, and to forgive. Okay, now once you do that, one whole avenue of distortion is going to be gone, eliminated. Okay, and so I've been doing this, and anybody that wants to do a session and clear these distortions, feel free to go ahead and give me an email and we'll do a session and we'll start clearing distortions. It's work. I don't do it for you. I help you, I assist you, I do a healing for you, but you do the work. You have to clear it. I can't clear your stuff, but I can show you how I've cleared my stuff. And so what ends up happening is when we're with these people, we're in our sacred place. They are now energetically, now this is not for all of you. It's not for everybody. It probably at some point it will be for everybody, maybe, maybe not. This is for me and several people that I know. And so several people and other people watching the video that I don't know may be having this experience. You might be a catalyst. I'm a catalyst. When a catalyst is around people, they run or they're attracted to us. When they're attracted to us, and I don't mean like physically sexually attracted. I mean, they like you. They like your energy. They like the way they want to be with you because it feels good to be with you. The reason is because they have now been pulled into their sacred self. So your sacred self as a catalyst has pulled them into their sacred self, okay? And that is where there's harmony between you. And that's where you make this plan. And then that's when you depart from them and then it gets erased or canceled. Once that appointment is made and then you never hear from them again, they bail out on it. You don't know why. You're like, what the heck? They really liked me. They were excited about this, and you never hear from them again. It's because as soon as you departed, you were not anchoring them in anymore into their sacred self. So the distortions came in. And the distortions came in, and now the distortions have to be cleared. And that's what's happening to our twins. That's what's happening with runners. Now, the awakened twin can run too, okay? But typically, the one that wants it, that is chasing, and the one that doesn't is running. But think about this, like when I was around my twin, sometimes when I get around her, she'd be in her distortion and she was a little bit standoffish. It was just like, like there was friction. There was a little standoffish energy there. It was an energy of, I'm not letting you in this time, And after just a few minutes, they open up. You're having a blast. You're in the moment together. It's timeless. It's totally timeless. It's amazing. It's in harmony. It's like pure love is flowing and you never want it to end. So that is when you've pulled your twin into their sacred self, okay? And then you make a plan and then they run. So you depart and they run. You don't hear from them again, right? I haven't heard from my twin in like almost a year, okay? So why? Because my twin is clearing things. Just like the first time that I ran, I had a lot to clear, a lot of self-worth, not being good enough for her, not feeling secure. Okay. And so understand when people don't feel secure, the safety of that is their ego comes in so that they can operate, so they can get through things, so they can operate around people. The ego comes in and allows them to, their ego gets boosted so they can hang out around people and function in life. So that, because if they didn't have that ego, they would be insecure and they wouldn't be able to go around a lot of people. Think about people that have a really big ego, or very egocentric, and it's all about them, and they might have arrogance. Do you actually think they feel good about themselves? No, they don't. They're insecure as all hell. Insecure people are in ego, heavy ego. And so the more insecurities you release, the less ego has to come in so that you can operate. And so by going into the moment and being present, we no longer have to worry about all that because we're in acceptance with everything around us. And the reason is because we're detached from everything around us. So by being detached from it, we become the observer. And when we're the observer, we're not in it. And think about that. You know, think about how you can get attached to something like a sporting event. You're the observer and you have vested interest in it. You have a desire for a certain team to win. Now think about this. When you have a desire for a certain team to win and you're watching this game, you come out of the moment and you become attached to an outcome, okay? If your team is losing, you're happy and excited. If your team is losing, you're upset about it. You want them to win. So you go into the future. That's the fear part. You go into the future where hopefully they're going to win. You get insecure about it, but you're not detached. You're not the observer anymore. Your energy's in the game, right? And so the team that's winning, if you're watching it, you have an emotional vested interest in the game because your ego wants to win. But think about this. If you go into the football game or the baseball game or the soccer game or whatever it is, and you don't really care too much about either team, like I used to go to a lot of football and baseball game and basketball games in California. And sometimes I wasn't like a fan, like I'm not a Giants fan, okay? So if I went to a Giants game, I really didn't care who won. This happened once I went to a Yankees-Red Sox game, actually at the Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium in New York, and I watched the Yankees against the Red Sox. I'm not a Yankees fan, I'm not a Red Sox fan, so I really didn't care who won. And in that moment, I was more the observer than any other time because I had no vested interest in who was going to win. I just wanted to have a good time. So think about life this way. If you don't have a vested interest in what is going to happen next, you are now in the moment as the observer. And the only thing that can pull you out of that moment is a distortion. And the distortion is a distraction. And the distraction leads to an emotional anchor that you have not cleared yet. And that is either going to be in the future or the past. I've explained this. In the future, it's fear. In the past, it's resentment. This is what is happening if you're anchoring people into their sacred self, if you're like a catalyst, if you're mostly in the moment, if you've accepted that this is the way it is and it's okay, you're not going to be running or chasing. If you've accepted it, you're just in the moment where everything is safe, you're shielded. So understand that if this is happening to you a lot, happens to me a lot. I actually got to the point where I don't even make plans anymore with people because I just know, I can tell certain people, I can tell I'm pulling them into their sacred self. And when I depart, they won't be. I might still make a plan, but I don't have an expectation that I'm going to see that person, right? This is what happens to our twin, and why I said before in another video that if you keep chasing your twin and you actually see your twin, you're going to have a good time. You're going to pull them into their sacred self. But as soon as you depart, they're going to go back into the distortion and they're going to flake out on you again because they have to clear those distortions, not because they dislike you or anything like that. They're just not ready. And so that's why I say if you stop chasing, they can start clearing all those distortions. And it takes the amount of time that it takes, and we can't rush it. And that's the thing, as the chaser, you're in the energy of wanting to control things. You want to control this. You want to see them. You want to get the show on the road. You want to prove to them that you're a power couple or whatever. And as the runner, you're insecure. You're running because you're insecure. And so when you're with your twin and you pull them into the sacred self and then you guys depart and then that twin runs, All that's happening is they're clearing the distortions that they have to clear. And if we can come into acceptance and realize that we're, in acceptance, in the moment, in the present moment, remember, we are not running or chasing, we're the observer. And it's difficult sometimes because we can go into a distortion anytime. I can have an emotional attachment to an outcome, which happens. I mean, I want to see my twin. I love her. I want to not just see her, I want her to be ready for me. But that isn't the truth right now. That's not where we're at. The truth is that my twin is not ready for me, because if my twin was ready for me, I'd be with her. And guess what that means? That means I'm not ready for her. I'm still clearing. I'm still clearing energy also. Matter of fact, I'm still clearing a lot of her stuff. So, and the bottom line is that over the course of the last year, I've had this dynamic occur so many times. And I think it was part of the downloads. I had to have the experience enough times to go, okay, this is what's happening. I'm anchoring this person in their sacred self. We're having a very the conversation is very honest, and it's got the component. I'm trying to think of the word. I can't. It's got the component. The friendship or the dynamic has the component of authenticity. That's the word. You're authentic. You're who you are, and they are who they are, and you're jiving, and everything is great. You depart, and you don't hear from them again, and you think that, like, what happened? What's wrong with me? What did I do? What did I say? And the truth is, there's nothing wrong with you. There's something that they have to clear. And so some people won't clear all their stuff, and some people are more sensitive than others. And so you as a twin are probably an empath. And so when you get around other empaths, you can anchor them in. And so the whole thing that we have to do to clear all these distortions is being in acceptance, is to clear our distortions, clear our resentment, clear our fears. Write a list of your fears, write a list, and start putting those fears in God's hands, because that's what's going to clear it too, is knowing that you're okay. Remember, the only thing to fear is fear itself. It's not real. Fear is just an illusion. And this came through also recently, that the way out of fear, the solution to get out of fear, is to change your frequency. And because you can't find a solution when you're in fear. It's impossible to find a solution when you're in the frequency of fear. In order to find a solution, you have to remove yourself from the fear. And by removing yourself, you have found your solution, because you're no longer in it. And so it comes down to, like, realizing in that moment, like me, I am the tension I wish to dissolve. That is my tension. It's my resistance. And we'll talk more about this, but I just wanted to get through all of that, because basically the masculine and the feminine, if you're a masculine, it doesn't mean you're the runner. If you're the feminine, it doesn't mean that you're a chaser. It's just distorted energy that one of you is doing. And think about the times that you've ran and chased. Think about this. When one time I was on Instagram and I was looking at my twin's Instagram, but I couldn't see it because not that I was blocked, but I wasn't following her, right? So I could just see her picture and how many people she follows, and I don't know who they are, right? But my Instagram, I left open so that it was public, so that she could see me, right? And so there was a couple times where I got resentful, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make it not public anymore. And so I didn't block her, but I made it so that it wasn't public, right? That was the direction of running, right? And if I make it public, it's more the direction of chasing. And so I try to meet the resistance in the middle, meet the resistance to stay there, don't push. And so when I blocked her, I was running. So I blocked her, I was in the running energy. I don't know if she came into chaser, I have no idea, but I know that I was running. And when I had her totally unblocked and was like, hey, here I am, come check me out, I was chasing. That's the energy. But now where it's at is just that it's not blocked, but it's not public either. It's just like, hey, here I am, but I'm not interested in showing you everything, and I'm not interested in seeing everything. I'm just neutral now. I'm just here. And so those are the energies. And I just really wanted to say that. I hope I didn't trigger anybody that has this construct that the runner is the masculine. I just don't feel that way. And I've gotten a lot of information on this. So I hope everybody has a really great day, and everything is working out good for you. And if you feel like you can't get into the moment, just start breathing and focus on your higher heart. Breathe right into your higher heart. Breathe right into it. And just focus on that breath, and you will become in acceptance and you'll be more in the moment. Okay? Have a great day.